Hey, it's Jay, and today we're gonna do a fun project. We're actually gonna be working on a fountain that's gonna go in our back outdoor space, and it's a fountain that we inherited from my in-laws. We gifted it to them 12 years ago, and all of my kids have enjoyed the fountain. They play in it all the time, but the paint and everything else, all the parts have just worn down. It's just time at this point to redo the whole thing. This fountain desperately needs a makeover, and the techniques and strategies we use in this video can be applied to just about anything that you might want to make over in your house. Just because we're doing a fountain today doesn't mean that you can't take these same techniques and apply it to something else. Let's get started. I have to take a quick moment to fix this piece because when I tipped the whole fountain over, it was so full of water, it hit the ground pretty hard, and this stuck out a little bit farther than the rest of the fountain, so it ended up cracking the outside. The inside is still really good. The inside is not cracked at all. So I'm just gonna super glue the two cracks here. This stuff dries super fast, so I am gonna hurry. And then I'm gonna clamp it and let it sit overnight. Fortunately, the crack is on the back side, so nobody's gonna see it. It's not gonna be an issue. And we're gonna paint over all this anyway. But let's see if I can clamp this tight. That's good, that's sealed right up. You can see the crack there, but I think it honestly looks pretty good. Even though it's in the back, you know, we'll still paint this whole thing and should be able to pretty much cover that crack up. It takes about 45 seconds for the super glue to cure, but I'm just gonna leave the clamps on for a while and we'll come back and check it out later. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove these lights. They actually haven't worked for many years now. We purchased this for my wife's parents back in 2008, so it's 12 years old. When we paint this thing, I wanna make sure that I don't have any lights, so we're just gonna remove these for now. There it is. Just pull these out. Oh, there we go. It's been about a day now, and the bowl on the top here has sealed really well with that super glue. So this is ready to go. I'm just gonna use a mild bleach solution and go over this thing. It's been sitting out for 12 years and just over the years has accumulated some nice junk on it. We're gonna get it nice and clean before we put any paint on it. All right, cool. We are gonna leave the fountain out now just to dry in the sun. I think we did a really good job of kind of cleaning up all the loose ends. You could see that this whitish off-white color is the base color without any paint on it. We took off a little bit extra of the paint just by cleaning it up and scrubbing it, and anything loose just fell off. And then when we go to prime it and paint it, it'll be really set to go and should adhere well to the fountain. I'm all sweaty because while I was waiting for this to dry, I was doing some yard work and digging some holes and gonna plant some new flowers in the front. I moved the operation inside. It's a little after 5 p.m. right now. We're in Florida, so thunderstorms are unpredictable. So right now there's no rain, but you know, it could be here in 5 minutes, who knows. So I'm gonna do the spray painting in here. I just put a cloth down. Everything's dry, everything's pretty prepped. Let me just show you how the spray paint works. It's a Rust-Oleum product. a universal advanced formula. It's a metallic finish, but you can put it on many surfaces, wood, metal, plastic, masonry. It has both the paint and the primer in it. On a surface like this, normally you'd want to prime it, but I'm gonna do it at the same time as I put the coat on. Now the directions say if you're gonna put 2 coats on, which we are in this case, you gotta put the second coat on within an hour after you put the first coat on. If you don't, and you miss that hour window, it says you have to wait at least 48 hours until you put the second coat on. All right, so it has something to do with the paint curing. And it says it's gonna be dry to the touch within 30 minutes. This is just something I thought of. We had pizza last night, so I figured just cut a hole in the box here, and that way I can kind of just rest this, hide the tube in the box, and then I can spray paint the whole thing all the way around, get everything, without having to flip it over and time it, so I can do everything all at once. You gotta shake it for at least a minute. I should make a TikTok. It's been about 30 minutes. I would say probably about 35, 40 minutes actually. We're ready for coat 2, and it looks pretty good. Actually, probably doesn't even need a second coat, but we're just gonna do one. Just wanna get one extra layer on there. So here we are 24 hours later. Just spray painted this yesterday and it turned out really well. It's much improved from where it was. We're on to the next step, and so I brought everything in here because we kind of had to do a little problem solving. I know I showed you already, but before we took this whole thing apart, there were 3 lights that came up and through, and for about the first 6 months I think the lights worked, and then my father-in-law said they all burned out. So what we're gonna do is find a way to plug these holes up, because we're just not gonna do wires anymore. I mean, this just does not look safe to me. The transformer for the lights was basically sitting in water inside, next to the pump, inside the fountain, and I don't think there's anything waterproof about it. Obviously we can't have that hole. There's a hole right here, and then there's a hole right here. These are the plugs that were in there, and it's got a hole in it, but the wire comes up and through. And what I can do is just cut the wire, then they'll have a hole in them. So what I did is I went to Home Depot, good old Home Depot. I picked up some Gorilla epoxy stick, which is basically like a putty, but it's a mixture of putty and epoxy. And it says right here that this product is waterproof and used for indoors and outdoors, and it can also be painted. Just gives it a little bit of a rough edge. Okay, I've made an executive decision here. I think in this case, less is better. Honestly, it's already leak-proof. We know that. And the wire was coming up through the middle, so all we really have to cover is just the center of each one. Now I'm wearing gloves. It says it can be an eye irritant. Wow, this is weird stuff. Step 1 here is I'm just removing this little plastic covering on it, and it says just cut off a piece of this putty. So I'm gonna pull off this end here, just taking a little slice off the end. This little piece back on the end here, on the inside, it's like a light color, on the outside it's a dark color. Try not to expose it to air. Put the cap back on. Now I've got this little piece right here, and it just says mix it together for a full minute until it
One hour later.
There it is. So this top piece just has a hose that goes down that attaches into the pump. It pumps water to the top, and then the water trickles down using gravity. And then there's 3 holes in the basin down here, so when the water level gets high enough in this bottom one, then it trickles through and then fills up the basin again, and then the whole process just continues. And after a little cleanup, and some reorganization, and some more cleanup, and some more reorganization, I finally got the fountain in a place I like. Now for the finale, let's set it up. I hear the pump. I went online and I found these on Amazon, and we're gonna try them out. They're submersible LED lights. They're 100% waterproof. They are battery powered, so I will have to turn them on and off when I want the lights on in the fountain in the evening, but I just figured that they'd be easy and then I'd have to worry about wires or anything electrical. And since they're self-contained, it's nice. You can just dip them right into the fountain and it'll give it a cool, glowing effect. Okay, the last step is to install the GoSun smart plug. I made an entire video dedicated just to the GoSun smart plug, and I'll link that below. But these are super handy, and watch this. This is already set up. So now all I have to do Alexa, turn on the fountain.